Well, hello everyone. I want to tell you the untold story about Joe Jackson and the Jackson 5. Now, I am the king maker of the king of pop. I am Gordon Keith. Ben Brown was an artist himself, and he recorded some music, Incognito and The Two Faces of Love. Ain't that just like Ben? And I'm not really sure at this point if we put it on the Steeltown label or another label. But certainly Ben Brown certainly did record that music. If I had only paid attention to the titles that he used, maybe I would have been able to stop him from, let's say, defrauding me, because certainly Ben Brown and Joseph and Catherine together, they certainly did commit big fraud against me that still is going on right now, and they are benefiting from it financially speaking. So any of you people that find yourself working with Ben Brown, you just might be an accessory to crime. I think they call it accomplices to crime. Mm-hmm. The way Steeltown Records came about is 5 of us friends got together when we realized that in our area here of Lake County, Gary, Chicago, and Hammond, etc., people were not very supportive of one another. And so we said, well, we think the best way for us to get our music out there was to put together a record company label ourselves. And we called it Steeltown Incorporated, which also was called Steeltown Records Incorporated. Our partners were Louie Washington, a singer like me, and also Maurice Rogers, a great singer, great organist, keyboardist. Willie Spencer, well, he just was a great guy that wrote some good songs, and he was a great electrician. And then also the very notorious Ben Brown. Approximately 1965 or 66.
Okay. Where did you meet him at?
I met him, I really can't say for sure. We probably met at my house, 1025 Taney Street. Well, that's my old address, Gary, Indiana.
Okay. You have known him before?
No. I met him through Maurice Rogers.
Okay. And who is Mr. Maurice Rogers?
Maurice Rogers is was one of our members of our organization, Mojo Supreme, and we and Mojo Supreme put together Steeltown Records.
That explains why on some of your 45s or the 7-inch vinyls, they had Mo Beth or Mo something on there?
Now, Ben Mokeefe is a publishing company name.
Okay, got you. So what was Ben Brown's character like, Mr. Keith?
We found out that Ben was two-faced. That Ben was a slick person. But I didn't find out real good until the double cross by the Jackson family.
Okay, so Ben Brown was a two-faced. Is it true that he recorded some songs under your Steeltown label?
Yes, he did. And he recorded primarily the Payton Twins. I don't believe we put any of that music out on the Payton Twins, but they were a good group out of Michigan City.
Okay, so can you go back into Steeltown Records when you say, if you could describe each co-partner's role at Steeltown as far as the groups? Because I remember you told me something about you had them you had them, y'all would come together and promote each one of your artists, use Steeltown as a front. Can you go back and to describe that again and describe who Ben Brown had as a group?
Yes, we each had our individual artists, or acts as we may call them. And so Ben had a group called the Peyton Twins from out of Michigan City, Indiana. Mine was the Jackson 5 plus Johnny, right here in Gary, Indiana. Willie Spencer had a group called the Enchanting Enchanters. Someone had a group that I can't even remember their name, but they had some good music. Now, Maurice Rogers was a great performer, really great performer, still performing today. He really was a superstar, and we recorded music on him like Mountain of Soul, things like that, from gladness to sadness. But we weren't able to get his music out there right. We did put out the music Gladness to Sadness and things of that nature, but as I said, we just couldn't get it on,
So, so Ben Brown, because when he was trying to make himself look like he was the one who discovered the Jackson 5. So, okay.
Yeah, with Ben's situation now, he wasn't really energetic, and probably because of that, we just made him the president, because it really wasn't much for a president to do, since we all were producing ourselves. Everybody were producers. So we all took care of our own business. And so we just made him president as a ruse. I was the secretary.
So Ben Brown was just the president of your establishment. Okay, that makes sense. Let me see.
He was not a functioning president.
Exactly.
Right.
Please, can you describe the time when Ben Brown asked you for your roster, or for a roster sheet of Steeltown, and can you also go into the times of what did he do with the roster? Can you tell the world that he went to the same pressing company that you originally pressed the Big Boy 45 in January 1968? He went behind your back and he pressed those records out. Can you describe the time when Ben Brown asked for the roster? Can you take us into details and tell us what he did with it?
Ben Brown asked me for a copy of our Steeltown Incorporation papers, which he had lost, the one that he had. So me being the secretary, I kept all that stuff. And so I really didn't find out when he did it until way after the fact that he went out and had some more of my recordings pressed up on the Jacksons, and he got two young ladies, the Wilborn sisters, to help him sell those records and to supposedly promote those records. But he was doing that to sell the records to make money for himself. That's what he was doing. And now a little bit later on, not a little bit, actually about a year passed, and I got a bill from that same, let's say, record pressing plant out of Willow Springs, Illinois. That's where it was at. And I had already paid for the records that I had made up before Atlantic Records took over. So I had no other records left at that particular time, and I only went and had pressing done at Willow Springs pressing plant one time. So Ben went out there and had some more pressed up behind my back, and that's what he did.
Okay. And that was right around the same time you had already repressed. I mean, you had already pressed some records. He went behind your back, right?
Right, absolutely.
Okay, that's good.
Absolutely. I did not know about Ethel Wilborn and her sister until about 45 years later, but she and her sister are the ones that Ben Brown got to help him sell those records, and supposedly they were helping to promote the record, but they were really selling those records for Ben Brown. Okay, Ben Brown was trying to get a copy of my contract that only I had with Joseph Jackson and family, and because the Jacksons were my project, and I didn't share because I didn't have to. I wasn't supposed to share my contract with anybody else. So when Ben got this idea with him and Joseph working together and going around pulling all kind of underhanded deals using Michael's name, according to this guy Jones, I forgot his name, he was Michael Jackson's office manager. His last name was Jones. He told me that Ben and Joseph was going around using Michael's name to set up different programs and things of that particular nature. Well, at the same time, he was trying to get a copy of my contract, and he was going through a mutual attorney that he and I both had. Attorney Robert Lewis is the name of this attorney. Now, Attorney Robert Lewis worked with his brother. Attorney Thomas Lewis is the one, though, that Ben really was working through to get a copy of my contract. So Ben Brown never had a copy of any of my contracts on the Jacksons, including my contract with Atlantic Records that I signed for the Jacksons and myself. Now the people's signature on the Atlantic Records contract are the very strong, powerful Jerry Wexler, maybe I should say Gerald Wexler of Atlantic Records, very well known in the entertainment industry at that time. He was a very powerful man, very powerful promotion man, very influential person, Gerald Wexler. And I signed that Atlantic contract for the Jacksons. Only us. Nobody else's signature was on it but mine and Gerald Wexler of Atlantic Records. We can prove that. Michael Jackson's attorney from the Lavely and Singer law office had people in there like Attorney Wolf and so forth. These were strong, very strong, let's say mighty, powerful attorneys that Michael Jackson had hired. Ben Brown took my music, and after he and Joseph and the Jackson 5 had already went through the media claiming that they had discovered, that Ben had discovered these tapes in his mother's cupboard or something like that. And so he was on TV programs and things of that nature, newspapers and everything, claiming this discovery, and I never lost the stuff, but that was his discovery. Now what he did use, he didn't find it because it wasn't lost. He got a copy of an album that I and a guy by the name of Jerry Williams, also known as Swamp Dogg, we had put it out on SDGE Records. And Ben took a copy of that record that he bought, and that's what he used to make a deal with Inverted Records, which seemed like it was a dummy company or something, because when you check on it, it wasn't really registered for real business out there. And so Ben also used the same tactic with Brunswick Records, okay, and the same thing took place. So either way, he never had a copy of, let's say, my production music. Never had a copy, and he was just a lying, two-faced person who likes to do things behind your back. So I guess you could call him a backstabber. I have the original recordings, 2-inch reel, 3-inch reel, demos, the whole 9 yards. I have all of that stored in a bank vault, and that's where I have been keeping them, okay? After everybody lost faith in them, including the Lena brothers, my friends Rodney Jones, disc jockey, most famous black disc jockey in the world at that time, and also the great Purvis Spann, also a famous disc jockey. They all lost faith in the Jackson 5 and gave them to me because they couldn't do anything with Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. And so I put the Jacksons out. I am the one that did that for them. But they forgot where they came from, and believe it or not, they have been attacking me for over 50 years. Here's the proof of me discovering them.
You can start off with, show them this one, Keith, the big, the first recording, Jackson 5. You can put your hands on it.
Okay, well, this is the original contract here, though.
Right. Okay, you want to show that
original
first?
Contract, right, between Joseph Jackson and myself. Okay. And that's very first contract.
Wow.
Atlantic Records and some other people have another original copy called originally there were 3 copies.
Hands.
Pick it up with my hand. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you know,
That's nice.
I'm not steady.
No, you don't have to be
I'll lean
steady.
on this over here to help.
Yeah, you don't have to be steady.
Am I holding it right?
Oh, yeah. It's the original contract, everybody. Okay, you can tell them, Keith.
Yes, this is the original contract of the Jacksons with one that I and their father, Joseph Jackson, signed. This is the original copy, okay? Even though it has some imperfections on it, I should say, as you can see some of the imperfections on this contract, but this is a contract. Most of this contract is made from onion skin. And you can believe that when this contract is put up against anything that anybody else has, this one will show that they signed with me.
This is the part when Bill Brown was lying while he was being deposed. Correct, Ms. Keith, when he was saying that when they asked him if his name was on the contract, and he said yes. And
he lied about it.
Right, you don't have anything, and this is the original one.
That's right. You don't see nothing scribble on that or whatever.
No.
All you see on this is my name and Joseph Jackson's name.
Wow.
Okay, this right here is a demo, also known as a dub, also known as a test recording that we used to do back in the day. And this right here truly represents the song, because this is Big Boy on here. This here is what got the Jacksons truly on their way. And I'm holding it right here in my hand. The flip side is some girls want me for their lover. Sometimes we would call it Michael the Lover, okay? Because you know Michael was featured on most of these songs, even though Jermaine did have a little part in some of the songs, you know.
Right. Ooh, look at this jam session, Mr. Keith. This is the original jam session of Mr. Keith's project. I like that, Mr. Keith. And what is this one you got right there?
We don't have to be over 21 to fall in love.
Wow.
We just called it over 21.
That's sharp. I see it. Lean over a little bit to the left, Mr. Keith. Lean to the window towards. Yes, I can see your silhouette. That's nice. Steeltown Records we have here. We don't have to be over 21 to get that perfect shot. We're in the Mr. Keith's vault. 45, right, Mr. Keith? I mean, what is this again?
That is a master mix down, a master mix.
Okay.
Of the 4 original songs on the Jacksons. Wow. The Jackson 5, or better yet, Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. Very first one.
I see that in the vault.
Master mix.
Okay.
Now, we already got to, you want to do that one again?
I'm going to come back in, but you got that in your hand, so.
Okay, well, let's start out by saying this right here is the very first dub that the Jacksons made to help them get on their way.
Which song is that?
This dub is called a demo. You can see I have it in, let's say, the envelope from audio disc.
Yeah,
okay, so this, I'm taking it out. Ooh. And this right here is the very first demo dealing with Big Boy.
Wow, I see that. Wow.
And this is the original Big Boy.
I see that
went on to be used to put their first
original big boy professional recording out, made from this right here.
Not the leaners.
Oh, not the Leaners at all. The Leaners didn't have faith in the Jacksons.
Okay, I see
They
that.
didn't think the Jacksons were going any place. This is the flip side here of Some Girls Want Me for Their Lover. This song is also called Michael the Lover. And this song right here, there is like a mix-up between some other people. This is a song that when I find out that some paperwork from some other people, we got some business to get something straight about this, which I don't mind, let's say, reconciling this particular song. Whatever the case, this is it.
But what it shows is that when you're poor, it's real hard to go up against folks that got any kind of money.
Right.
Okay. Now some stuff I lost when somebody broke into my home, my old home, and stole some things. But I still have all of the main stuff. I also keep the original contract that I signed with Joseph Jackson in reference to his kids, the Jackson 5. I have the original notarized copy. You know. So I have all this stuff. So for those that really want to know the truth, they can come see me like the Spanish people did back in July of 2014 this year, because I do have it all. And it's amazing to me how Ben Brown can be believed by so many people without them checking out the truth or even coming to Gary to really find out the truth. I think they got most of their information in other towns and other states. But the real truth about Ben Brown's situation, as well as the Jackson 5 situation, even the other lifestyle situation, that information is back here. I know all about it, and I have proof about it. If I had shown the proof that I have when Michael was taken to court for pedophilia, he would have been in jail, but I really didn't want to see Michael to go to jail myself, you know. So besides, you know, we're hoping for the best, and we would love to get our situations reconciled. But one thing for sure, Brother Ben Brown never did anything that you can trust. So Ben Brown and those guys worked together. They knew that they were stealing, but they figured that I didn't have money enough to have attorneys to go out and really stop them. And so after Ben got with Inverted Records, after they sold about a little better than 250,000 records and made tons of money, which they definitely didn't share it with me. Their next victim that seemed like they were happy to be a victim with him was Brunswick Records. And so Ben, let's say, and the Jackson 5 worked a little bit more up front this time together, because Ben and the Jackson 5 and Joseph, they all worked together to make that deal with Brunswick Records. And in so doing, even though Ben also talked to me about it, but he talked to me about it right after they had put the record out, okay? Now, we did some things that to me, even though I didn't mean for it to be the way it was with Ben, okay, but it was something that I was trying to get some records put out there, but not through Brunswick. And so Ben had some checks from Brunswick that was made out in my name, which I never cashed, so he cashed them. So this is the kind of fraud that Ben has been in time and time again, and why he's not in jail yet is beyond me. Also keep in mind that with Ben's so-called discovery of, let's say, my music, in his mother's attic or someplace had to be incorrect anyway, because here he is. He also added two of my other group songs to the music that he put out. The songs were entitled "Let Me Carry Your School Books" and "I Never Had a Girl," sung by the Ripple and the Waves plus Michael group. So that music wasn't even recorded till 1971. That's when I recorded them on those songs.
Okay.
So Ben is so far out of line with his lies, he can't tell his lies straight. Ben Brown lied about his signature being on the original Jackson contract, and it is not. The only names on the original Jackson contract for recording purposes is Joseph Jackson's and mine. I have the original contract, so you'll be able to see it, I hope, sometime in the future when we finally get back into court, or if we are able to work with Inside Edition and Entertainment Tonight and YouTube to get this real information up there, so that we can really, I want to say it this way, I hope that we can save the world from the Jackson family and Ben Brown, because they some real liars. Back to the deposition. On the deposition, we find Ben Brown telling the court a lie.
Here we have the Ben Brown deposition exhibit, which is also known as Exhibit J. Here we have Exhibit J, the Ben Brown deposition. Esquires.
You see, Ben Brown said that the way he was associated with the Jacksons is that I brought the Jacksons to him, which is true that I did. Let's say I'm the one that had the Jacksons, but I didn't bring them to Ben Brown. And so if he's saying in the deposition that I brought the Jacksons to him, then it must mean that I'm the one who discovered the Jacksons, not him. I hope that's good enough.
Did you also mention the part, Mr. Keith, or can you mention the part where he's talking about a demo, as if you're an artist giving the demo to him as a record label for him to decide?
And certainly that's something questionable for him to say anyway, because why would I give a demo to him to decide when we all had our individual functions? Nobody controlled anybody. We just put the company together so that we would be able to do our production thing, which included recording our own acts. Ben Brown's act was the Peyton Twins, a good act out of Michigan City. My act was the Jackson 5. And so that's the way it went. And nobody controlled each other's acts or productions. See some paperwork that Willie Spencer, let's say, rolled up to show what I just said. Willie Spencer points out that we all had our own individual acts, and that the Jackson 5 were my particular act. That's already notarized. Willie Spencer made that statement. Ben Brown is one who has collected a lot of money for my product.
This is really illegal here. This, again, is something pertaining to Ben Brown selling, in the process of selling Mr. Keats, about 10 of Mr. Keats' songs to Inverted Records, to Mr. John Kenneth. Here it seems to be, it's coming from a CST-MCS Productions. It looks like it's somewhere from Van Nuys, California. And it has something to do with working capital management accounts. And it looks like it's to pay to the order of Mr. William Adams, Attorney Tom Lewis, $2,500. And so, of course, you see that it's Merrill Lynch, affiliated with Bank One, and it appears to have the person at Bank One's signature along with Mr. Ben Brown's signature here. And as you can state that Mr. Keith never cashed or signed. This was never cashed or signed by Mr. Gordon Keith William Adams, Mr. William Adams. This shows that Ben Brown was portraying a presidential role in where apparently Mr. Keith did not have to be there to get these checks and things of that nature. Again, this is to defy how Ben Brown was a manipulator, how he was a liar, a deceiver, and a con artist.
He did not have the right to do so, but since he's been a person that just does what he wants to do, even though somebody or the court tells him not to, he goes right ahead and does what he wants to. So he's gotten paid many, many different times, like a $4,000 check here, a $2,000 check there from John Kenneth of Inverted Records, other monies from Brunswick Records, all kind of money he has been taking in at my expense. He's been going on programs whereas he gets paid maybe $70-some thousand or something like that. And he is lying. He is scamming Inside Edition.
It's been nearly 30 years since the Jackson 5 hit the music scene. Yet only recently were some of the Jacksons' first recordings uncovered. And those early songs will soon be released as an album. But we've got the first TV sample for you now. Cindy Hahn with our story.
They took the music world by storm. By the early 70s, brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Michael Jackson were the singing sensation of the decade.
I thought they would be as big as anybody could get, but they've surpassed even that. They've set some new standards.
The Jackson 5 climbed to the top with Motown hits like ABC and I'll Be There. But before the Jacksons hit it big with Motown, there was Steeltown in Indiana. The Jacksons grew up in Gary, Indiana. In 1967, the Fabulous Five recorded their first ever commercial album with the local label Steeltown. Ben Brown is still the president of the record company.
A friend of mine brought a demo into the control booth, and I listened to it, and it was a demo on the Jackson 5. After noticing Michael's range, voice quality, diction, clarity, etc., I knew we had found the hit.
What you're hearing now is the Jacksons' first hit single, Big Boy, released regionally in 1968. The album, though, never made it to record store shelves until now, nearly 30 years after it was recorded.
It's kind of incredible how big this act has gotten.
Brown says he stumbled across the master recordings last year while doing research for a book he's writing on the Jackson family.
They had, deteriorated a bit because of time and moisture and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. But they were there. And at that point, I decided that I want to share with the world what I experienced, what I heard in 1967.
And for the first time on TV, listen to a sample of the Jacksons' lost music.
Ben Brown is scamming entertainment tonight. Ben Brown is scamming the world.
And the Michael myth keeps getting stronger. This is a song he recorded as an 8-year-old with his brothers in 1967 called Big Boy. It was one the group recorded when they were signed to Steeltown Records before they hit it big with Motown, and was found by Steeltown president Ben Brown in an abandoned house.
I was crawling around on the floor and on the basement floor and everything else, and looking on shelves and closets and et cetera. And there was this box of tapes.
A collector's edition CD of Big Boy will soon hit stores, and Brown says he's hoping the Jacksons will bring some notoriety to his record label.
It would be nice if they choose to come back and sign with me now. But man, all of them, Michael, Jermaine, Randy.
At my expense. But I think it's probably at the expense of the world as well, because I hope that the world and Inside Edition and Entertainment Tonight and others, I don't think that they want to be scammed and so easily taken in by somebody like Ben Brown. You know, here's another thing. I know you all remember the Martin Bashir special that they did on Michael Jackson, and they played my music, Big Boy, on Michael Jackson, but they never paid me my royalties on that, okay? And then, once again, even though I don't fault Michael for it, because I'm sure some promotional person just shoved a copy of the so-called LOST STEELTOWN recordings that Michael held up himself, okay? And but I think that was harmful to me from the point of view that the so-called LOST STEELTOWN recordings was a fraud that was stolen from me by Ben Brown, Inverted Records, and Brunswick Records, okay?
So how had this singing and dancing genius arrived in the surreal place that is his life today? I started to look for answers back at the beginning. He played me his first single, Big Boy, which was released when he was just 8. By then, Michael Jackson had already been performing for 3 years. Do you remember when you first discovered that you had a special musical talent?
My mother caught me making my bed one day and I was singing. And she said to my father that I could sing and he didn't want to hear of it. You know, he said that Jermaine's the lead singer, not Michael. My mother said, Joe, you really should hear him sing. He can sing. He goes, no, Jermaine's the lead singer of the group and that's it.
So if you really need some proof, come and see me. Sit down with Pretty Boy Productions and myself and etc. and you'll find this out. What I'm saying to you, if you truly love Michael and the Jackson 5, I have all their original stuff. Come and see your humble servant, Gordon Keith.
They say it's better to have loved it all than not to have lived at all. But oh, the heartaches of a lost love can make.
Hi, my name is Clementine Wilbon, and I'm here today to represent Mr. Gordon Keith and my sister Ethel Edwards. Of course, I'm the person who brought the two people together, and we are coming full circle with the truth. And my biggest quest is to make sure that Mr. Gordon Keith get his just desserts, because he's worked tirelessly for the last 40 years, have never received the accolades that he should. And my sister and I was growing up on a small farm, and me being young, Michael's age, knowing for a fact that my sister helped promote I'm a Big Boy Now, she had no idea until I was the middleman to bring her and Mr. Gordon Keith together. And I, as a kid, remember Ben Brown coming to our house asking my parents, could my sister help him promote the record? So in all honesty, when I was talking to the producer, I said, now it's time for us to get on Inside Edition, the Wendy Williams show. And lo and behold, when I talked to my sister, she was scanning the, surfing the internet and was on there watching Michael, and then she ran across Ben Brown, talking about Inside Edition. Now, what's the best way to rebuttal? Coming back with information? Come back with the true story. Documents, put up or shut up. See, my daddy said, as long as I got to John Hancock, I got you. It used to be a handshake and word of mouth. That don't float today. You can get in trouble for a word, but if I got your documentation, that means I have proof. And if it's a legal contract, it's binding. So if you don't have that legal contract binding, how are you getting all the residuals? How are you getting all the money? So it was a, it was that missing piece that it was a coup d'etat. taking place all along. So at the end of the day, for all the people that were wrong, God will make it right. So my point is, I know I get a lot of backflash, like, why y'all talking about this? Y'all want some money? It's never been about money. It's about respect. It's about integrity. It's about giving a person they just deserves, because you're not taking a dime with you when you die. But your integrity, your name, that's all you have at the end of the day. But to wrongly take a man's, from what I understand in the Bible, you got to give it back 7 times. So he's going to be blessed 7 times to the 7th time to 10, keep on going. But Mr. Keith, being a humble man, wasn't pursuing it to the point that I think I was more eager for him. And I think his spirit felt my spirit, and when like spirits come together, you can't stop that. So my message here today is, I hope Ben Brown recognizes the harm that he has caused and repent. And, you know, because God said you have to forgive your enemies. So it's not about hating nobody or anything of that nature, but at the same time, to love money more than people, it shows that you will sell yourself out, say wrong things, don't tell the truth, and at the end of the day, you got to sleep with yourself, and you cannot divorce yourself from yourself. So at the end of the day, my biggest quest is for Mr. Gordon Keith to at least get acknowledged for his work. Also, with entertainment tonight, where Mr. Benjamin Brown expressed that he was the manager for I'm a Big Boy Now, I think all places that had any dealings with Mr. Benjamin Brown should have did their paperwork, and they should have did their investigation to find out the facts before they allowed him to come on TV and present to millions of people that he was telling the truth. So everybody in Gary, Indiana knows that Mr. Gordon Keith discovered the Jackson 5. Everyone in Gary, Indiana knows that my sister Ethel Wilbon helped promote I'm a Big Boy Now. And again, I would love to see Mr. Gordon Keith get his just desserts, to at least be recognized that he was the one who found Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Now, what do you think about that?
There's no pain that you can ever make.
Hello, my name is Ethel B. Wilbon Edwards. And I just want to tell the world a little information about a character named Benjamin Brown. This character went to school with me, and we did some previous business production work with the record I'm a Big Boy. But I found out later on that Benjamin was manipulating me. I was 16, he manipulated me. But as I got older, about 40 years later, I found out that Mr. Gordon Keith actually was the manager of the Jackson 5. So Benjamin was a liar then, and I found out he's still lying today, because recently I saw a clip, Inside Edition clip, and there was Benjamin Brown. He was on that station telling the world that he's gonna redo Big Boy. He's gonna make a film, a video, and he was gonna make an album with the record I'm a Big Boy. And I looked and I said to myself, how is he gonna do that when Mr. Gordon Keith actually was the manager? He has the clips, the master, the master copy of the record I'm a Big Boy. So I'm wondering, when he was roaming around in his mom's house and he found this record in the rubble, I'm a Big Boy. So I'm trying to figure out, how is that the truth when he doesn't have the master copy? So he's still manipulating the world. Now he wants the world to hear the same lie he started with 40 years ago. And he's still not telling the truth. I would like for Benjamin Brown to step to me, and we both meet up at Inside Edition, and I want to see if he tell that lie with me sitting there. Matter of fact, why don't we join in and have Mr. Gordon Keith there also, and see what he have to say then. Because Benjamin Brown, I would like to meet with you. Do you have a heart? Do you have the guts? I want to hear you tell me what you told Inside Edition about the record I'm a Big Boy Now. Now I'm trying to figure out how you found a record in a house that was tore down years ago, and there's a horse barn there now. Now I'm sure there was no record in the rumble over there unless it was in the horse crap. I just would like the world to know the truth about Ben Brown. Benjamin Brown has been deceiving people for years and years. And recently, in 2013, he was on Inside Edition saying that he was going to have an album out in 2014 and also a video. I'm trying to figure out how he's going to do that when Mr. Gordon still has all the master music. Now, why don't Inside Edition gather up all the proper people and the proper information before you put someone like Benjamin Brown on Inside Edition? Lying and talking about he found a record, I'm a big boy, and some rumble. That sounds like a lie. Don't y'all listen to that? Listen to the words that came out of his mouth. I was looking through my mom's house and I found the record and the rubble. Really? Well, the rubble is at a bank and it's in the vault. Benjamin, everybody on a small farm used to look up to you, and we thought you was somebody because you always walked around conservative, walking around like you was all of that, and we all looked up to you because you wasn't with the in crowd. So you came and got me because you knew I was with the in crowd. You knew that my father was somebody. He had everything rolled down. I'm not trying to bring up the dead, but he was an undercover gangster. He worked, he drove a train. He was an engineer at the Indiana docks. But on the weekends, he gave a party every 2 weekends. And the whole East Chicago sat down. Sonny Peterson, the Hub, the Bucket of Blood, everything shut down there at my mom and dad's house. So Benjamin Brown knew that my father had good status. So he came over to my father's house to get me to help him produce a record that he had nothing to do with, lying. And 40 years later, I meet the real man that actually produced the Jacksons. And he used the fact and the status that they were my cousins. I didn't associate with them people. My father didn't let us associate with them. My mother cooled out and hung out with Cousin Martha. But actually, to be honest with you, all of them was gangsters over there because Cousin Martha used to write the numbers. Oh. And my mom was going over there playing the numbers with them. And Benjamin knew all that big money was rolling through our family. That's why he came over there, to get the clout. Because all these people was somebody around in this town. And his name was nothing but Mud. Think about it. Brown, Mud, Ben, the Rat, Michael's song, Ben. You think Michael just sung that song, Ben? It was a human rat he was singing about, and his name is Benjamin Brown. Think about it. He's a liar. He's deceitful. He lied and he used me, and I was only 16 years old. And he used me to go against my own cousins. Even though I wasn't related to Joe Jackson. But Catherine was my mom's cousin. She was very close to Cousin Martha. And that's why my daddy let me go. But to this day, I'm angry with you, Ben, because you lied to my mother and father and you deceived me, and I was just a youngster. But I'm a grown woman. I want you to come and tell me that now. Why don't you come and face me now? You had me saying all them documents. I found you on Facebook. I thought we can clarify this, and I thought you was going to tell me the truth. But no, you put a flag up and shut your Facebook page down. That sounds like a crook running to me. Benjamin, I would like to see you again up to date. Why don't we set a meeting? Matter of fact, I'll send you a video and let you give me your opinion and tell me I'm a lie. Why don't you call it Inside Edition and have us to come on and meet with you and make me out of a liar? But I got some bag up. Because, see, I know Mr. Gordon now. William Adams is the person that was the producer of the Jackson 5. And that is the truth. I've seen documents. I've seen the real truth. Benjamin was not even over there. He had his own group. Each person in that club, the Steeltown Records, they all had their own production group. Benjamin Brown had a production group. Mr. Gordon it was the Jackson 5. They were under Mr. Gordon Keith. He was the producer. And I was deceived. And I feel bad to this day. That's why I'm telling the world the truth. He deceived me. He brought them documents to me, and he made me sign those documents because I thought what he told me and what we done together was truth. But it was a lie. He deceived. He was a part of Steeltown Records. That was probably the only truth he told. And the only truth that he told to Inside Edition was that he was, at one time, the president of Steeltown Records. But far as that record, Big Boy, that he found in the rubble at his mom's house, here, come here and ride down 94, you'll see there's a horse barn there now. The house had been gone forever. He couldn't have found the record there. He lied to Inside Edition. He told the world he wants the world to hear the record Big Boy, because the world has never heard the record Big Boy. Know why didn't he hear it? Because he pushed it on the rug, because he know they was going to bust him out. The same thing that got him where he at is going to be the same thing to take him down. The record, I'm a Big Boy now. Now I want the world to know it's Gordon Keith, a.k.a. William Adams, is the man that produced the Jackson 5.
So where you headed to now? You headed to his house?
I'm headed towards where Benjamin was raised at. He was raised in a Torkosh house.
Okay, and this is the house where he said he found the Big Boy
this
recording?
is the house that he claims that he found. He was looking through the rubble or crawling on his knees looking in his mom's house, and he found a box of records, and one of them happened to be Big Boy. Okay. And he says he's going to do a video and what did he say? An album. He's going to do an album with the record Big Boy. But over here, you can't see very clearly because some people came out here and bought up this land. It's a horse farm now. Mm-hmm. But this is the block that he was raised on the side of the highway that he was raised on, rather. This is what Ben's house.
I'm a lonely man. Lonely man. Sit in my lonely room, hoping and praying you'll be coming home soon. I love you with all of my heart. And you said,
Clem, this is a house that Benjamin grew up in. He said this is his mom's house. And that he came in here and he was crawling around on his knees, and then all of a sudden he seen a box full of recordings, and he found the record Big Boy. So now he says he's gonna make a video, and he's also gonna make an album. I'm looking in his house right now, and I'm sure that he wasn't crawling around on his knees in here. Now I want to ask the world, what do y'all think about that? You think that's reality or something fiction that he made up? Sounds like Ben is a rat and he lied to the world about his whole attributes to the record Big Boy, when he already know that Gordon Keith is the actual person that actually discovered the Jackson 5, and he's the one that holds the real recording of the Big Boy